Final Venture Wranglers, are you ready for a showdown?
We're doing a top 5 today, and we had a bit of a discussion about whether or not to do. First off, the top 5 today is 70s frontmen, top 5 70s frontmen. And originally we were going to do top 5 frontmen, and then the list just grew longer and longer and longer. So we'll do maybe an 80s frontmen too. I think that'd be a good delineation. Yeah. But the 70s were really when these guys and these bands just popped into popular culture and never left. I mean, they're still there.
Yeah.
And, you know, a frontman, I think a frontman is both a showman and a guy who's got a great voice. And I think the 5 that we've come to share with you today fill both of those.
Yeah, and I mean,
spots.
Beyond that, they're the person that the media wants to talk to.
Yeah, they're the face of the band.
They're like the quarterback.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So in our top 5 frontmen of the 70s, I think this first guy is, you could argue whether or not he's the lead singer of his band, but he is somebody who, when you think of rock in the 70s, you think of this guy.
And this is number 5. And
Gene Simmons. Go ahead.
I was going to say the winner is?
Gene Simmons. Paul Stanley is also a lead singer. Actually, all the guys in the band sing lead in Kiss. But when I think of seeing that original band, because I got to see them when they reunited in the mid-90s, and seeing Gene on stage, spitting blood, breathing fire with his winged costume on, his axe-shaped bass, and then flying to the top of the girders of the stage to sing God of Thunder. He is absolutely one of the most memorable frontmen of the 70s.
Oh, without doubt.
I mean, you were ahead of me at that time. What was it like when Kiss exploded? I mean,
it's funny. I remember in middle school being in woodshop, and Johnny Burbrink's like, "So are you in the Kiss camp or the Queen camp?"
Like you had to pick one.
Yeah, you had to pick one.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way. It's like those little things we used to make in middle school. And I'm like, I'm in the Queen camp.
Well, I mean, you can't argue at how his face was everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
You know, once they caught fire, once Alive was released, they were just all over the place.
And it's even subtle in the photo. So the other 3 guys are in dark suits. Gene's in this gray suit. So he's standing out from the other members.
Yeah, yeah. And they talk about the recipe for the band, and it evolved. You know, Alice Cooper had become a big deal, and that was kind of like a mix of glam and kind of performance type stuff, and they just took it to the next level with the black and white makeup.
Yeah.
And you know, it was a big deal for Kiss to not reveal their actual images, like never be seen in public. Nobody knew what the band looked like. There was a mystique there that doesn't exist today. So Gene Simmons, number 5 frontman of the 70s.
Number 4.
Number 4, I think, you know, Black Sabbath has had 15 different lead vocalists, but there's no denying that the first one is the biggest one. I think Ozzy, maybe not a showman on stage in the way that Kiss is, but he has his own little tics and things. But Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, very, very important 70s band and frontman.
Yeah, Ozzy for sure is, I mean, he's somebody that's easy to leave off the list, I think. But then when you start talking to people and they're like, oh, you got to have Ozzy on there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we had a list earlier, and then Kyle, friend of the show, Kyle came in, and we asked him. And I was like, top 5 70s frontmen, and he had that look like, uh-oh. But Ozzy is absolutely deserving of being on the list.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, he's He's been inducted as both a member of Sabbath and this year was inducted as a solo artist. He really deserves that distinction because his career could have been over when he left Black Sabbath, and everybody thought that it would be, and it just turned into a whole other thing. Now, he had a lot of help from his guitarists and the people that were helping him write, but Ozzy has been a figure in rock music for well over 50 years now, so he definitely deserves to be on the list. Who's number 3?
Number 3, we mentioned him earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Good old Alice Cooper.
Yeah, I mean, nobody had seen a stage show like what they saw when Alice Cooper started doing his thing. And, there is kind of a distinction between the Alice Cooper band and Welcome to My Nightmare, where Alice became the Alice character. But yeah, as a showman, he is way up there.
Oh yeah, and I mean, it's kind of mind-numbing to think Alice was born in 1948
Yeah,
as Vincent Damon Furnier.
yeah, yeah. And he has been like, I always call Dave Grohl like the mayor of rock and roll. Well, he is, but I kind of feel like that torch was passed from Alice Cooper. Because there was a time when Alice was on all the talk shows, game shows, you just couldn't get away from
He
it.
had his own radio show. It was everywhere.
Yeah, but Alice definitely deserves to be there. The last 2 on this list are maybe different, but I think both absolutely deserving of being at the top of the Frontmen list. Who's number 2?
Number 2 on the list, Mick Jagger.
You can't, I mean, he's still going. The band is still going. They're still recording new music. They're still doing tours. Like on this last tour, Mick would go out to like a local bar in each city where they were playing and just with a baseball cap on and have a beer, and nobody knew it was him.
Yeah.
I mean, I've said it before. It bears repeating. We are living in a time when you can still see the Rolling Stones play the music that the Rolling Stones for. And there will be a time when that is no longer. And the fact that he's still doing it as well as he is, and the band is just selling tickets no matter where they play or how much they charge.
And I love this cover. This is a collection, but
it's only rock and roll.
It's only rock and roll. But on the cover, Mick's the only one standing on the ground. Everybody in the audience is worshiping the band, but he is the only one on the ground, and the rest of the band is on the steps.
Yeah.
So he's a front man.
Yeah. I mean, he's standing out.
Yeah.
He's definitely standing out. And he, there's so many things that we have in pop culture because of the Rolling Stones. We've got that logo, the first couple chords of "Start Me Up." Everybody knows it.
Yeah.
They have just become ubiquitous. It's like if the Beatles had just kept going. But it's the Stones.
It's the Stones.
And, I always kind of feel like the Stones were like the raunchy and dirty part of the British invasion.
Yeah.
So if Mick Jagger is number 2, drum roll, please.
Number 1 goes to...
Number 1 has to go
Freddie.
To Freddie. He is the whole package. He's the showman. He's the guy that wears the fur and the crown on stage. He's got the half of the mic stand in his hand, and his voice is leaps and bounds above just about anybody's voice in rock and roll, in popular music. I mean, you listen to the way that those records sound and how great of a vocalist he is. I mean, he has to be at the top, right?
Oh, yeah.
Were you a fan? Well, you told the story about...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've always liked Queen. I had a hand-me-down copy of Night at the Opera.
Oh, yeah.
That I listened to constantly.
Oh, I bet. I don't have that. I don't have that on vinyl.
I think I have 3 copies at least.
There's something almost otherworldly about the power of his voice, and Queen did a lot of layering of the voices on their records, but you just hear his voice and you know the guy, and to me it just conjures up like Live Aid.
Yeah, that whole festival kind of sent them to another level.
Yeah, at a time in their career where they really were.
They were starting to fade.
Yeah, and now Queen is like the biggest thing in the world again.
Yeah.
It's really crazy.
It's funny, Bohemian Rhapsody is my daughter's favorite movie.
Oh, really? Oh, it's great.
She loves that film.
It's really great. I think it speaks to just no matter how old you are, you know, like those great artists are the ones that shine through.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that 100 years from now, people are going to be listening to Queen's music, and he'll probably still be, you know, at the top of that group of vocalists, because the work he did was just so great. And it's fun to do these lists. I mean, this was a really fun one because, you know, we both had input, and, you know, we talked to Jacob and Kyle about it beforehand, but we want you guys to go to our YouTube channel, see all of the top 5s that we have, all of the other stuff that we have on there. There's a smorgasbord of video stuff on there, John.
Indeed.
We also want you to let us know what top 5s you would like us to do, what show ideas, what else do we want people to do?
Subscribe, comment, even if you think you already knew that, comment.
Yeah, just tell us, hey guys, thanks. Great 3 things I didn't know, or tell us that you knew them. People can tell us that they knew those, right? Do all of those things. Be interactive with us. Go to our social medias. Go to Facebook, Instagram. Check out the YouTube channel. And most of all, enjoy those records that you have. And we'll see you all the next time around.